death is so taboo and no one wanted to talk about it, when we were growing up. And I'm hoping for that to change. And I think the way to do that is just to open the conversation and have these events where people know that they're not alone and they're seen and they're heard, and it's okay to feel whatever emotion you're feeling. But my goal would be for people not to stay in that emotion if it is one of sadness and anger, but to feel it and get through it so that they can experience the life that universe and God wanted them to have and their loved ones.
Welcome to Grief, Gratitude, and the Gray in Between podcast. I'm your host, Kendra Rinaldi. This is a space to explore the full spectrum of grief, from the kind that comes with death to the kind that shows up in life's many transitions.
Hi, welcome to the podcast, Jenny Robinson Clark and Travis Clark. Jenny is an actress, dancer, and now she can add author to her resume, as she is the author of Are You Here?, which is a heartfelt debut inspired by the passing of her dear mother, Debbie, and the signs that keep us connected to those we love. And when she's not writing or acting and mothering, she is baking sourdough, and you might find her
on topics like grief, health, and mental wellness. The views expressed by guests are their own,
Travis Clark is the lead vocalist, guitarist, and founding member of
medical advice. As the host, I hold space for diverse voices, but that does not mean I endorse every viewpoint shared. Please listen with care and take what resonates with you.
That accompanies Jenny's book, and this has just turned into this beautiful collaboration that brings love and loss into art. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. That was an awesome introduction. I felt like
I took your bios and just made it.
I felt inspired.
Yeah. Trying to make it flow there, but it's so nice to have you both. And I know that one of your biggest, I think, accomplishments is that of your family life and what you guys have created as your family and your home. I know that is the biggest blessing, and the 4 kids that you guys have. So I don't want to forget that. So before we go on and share a little bit more, for those of you listening, Jenny was on the podcast the first year that I started the podcast. That was in September 2020 is when that episode aired. And it had only been 2 years since your mom had passed, Jenny. I cannot believe it. And now here we are recording in 2026. A lot has happened. You didn't have Kingston then. You didn't even have your...
There's like no time and space, I feel like. It just goes by so fast. And you look the same. You sound the same. You're so beautiful. And it's been 6 years.
I know. It's kids really give us that perspective of time, don't they? Like when you look at kids is when you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is how many years it's been since that.
They grow so fast.
Right?
And it's so wild when you have multiple kids, you see the oldest child who was your first, right? Who was a baby. And as they're growing, and then you have another kid that is then the baby, and then they start growing, and then another kid that's the baby. You kind of forget that they're not all just babies. And then as the youngest gets a little older, like our youngest now, King, is 4 and Kinsley's 10. And it's almost like, oh my gosh, Kinsley's not 4. She's 10. It's like you get trapped in this loop of being a parent to like very, very young kids. And then one day you just kind of blank. You're like, oh my Lord, like we have young children, like
young adults,
like you're no longer in the toddler years, pretty much almost.
No, right? we're out of it, and it's special. And I agree completely with all of my soul that this is the greatest accomplishment we've done. I feel this way. I felt this way when we had our first. I feel this way now, 10 years into it. I know I'll feel this way on my dying day. It's so special.
And you guys are for sure the greatest joy of your own parents as well. I know you guys have both really strong bonds with both sides of your families. You guys have really strong family values on both of your sides. I'm very connected with your moms. I know that for you, Travis, your mom played also a part in your process as well, Jenny, with your mom as well because of her. Your mom also had cancer story as well at one point as well.
And their names are Debbie.
They're both Debbies.
That part I did not realize, that your mom was also Debbie, Travis. That part I did not know.
They're both Debbies. They loved each other deeply. Yes. And I had such a beautiful bond. I still have this beautiful bond with Jenny's mom. I just felt like immediately after day one, I felt like I was her son. And it was such a warm welcome, because I feel like I am a black sheep of a person. Like, I walked into their house. I have crazy tattoos. I have crazy hair. I'm a lead singer of a rock band. Like, I feel like maybe I was nervous that she wouldn't like me, because family is such a big part of who, like, why I choose the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I want someone who is devoted to their family, because I wanted to have family and all these different things. And when I met her, she was just like, she wasn't turned off at all by anything. She just asked me questions. It was so awesome. So I had this beautiful bond, and I saw so much of my mom in her. And I'm such a mama's boy. I was with Mama Bear with Jenny's mom, and I am with my mom. But when the parents got to meet each other, it was like our parents are very similar to each other, even in their parenting methods, like different things. Like, we see a lot of similarities between the two. And yeah, my mom and Mama Bear had just such a beautiful friendship.
Can I say that yesterday on a podcast that I was doing, I was telling them how much my mom loved you and what a bond you guys had and how connected you are. Sometimes I get jealous and angry because I feel like he is so connected and sees these signs and receives these signs just so sporadically and randomly. He doesn't even have to ask for them, and they just show up for him. And so I know that I was saying my mom was definitely his biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his mom is his biggest fan too, but
but knowing that you guys have that bond, and I know that in our past conversation, you were mentioning when you guys met in California, if I'm not mistaken, but that you're both from Florida. So it was like, oh, wait, we can actually, and your dream of being able to go back home to visit families, you didn't have to compete as to which state you were going to go visit families in the holidays. You could go to the same state and visit.
God was working in it. God was working in it.
That's
and I think that was probably part of it. I mean, for me, it definitely was. I wanted to meet my half orange that was I really was hoping from the same state that our families could get together. I loved that her parents were still married, like happily married. My parents are happily married and still. And so like I looked for these things and the woman that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And apart from just my instant, just like falling deep in love with this person, I then found out that all these things were like just checked boxes that I would have wanted to, I think everybody like subconsciously has like a little checklist box of like, hey, okay, so if I'm going to dive into this relationship, here's a couple things that I would, at least here's breaking points. Like I would really love her to have a relationship with God. I would really love her parents to be happily married. I would really love her to have siblings. I would really love her to be from Florida. I would really love her to have this deep connection with her family. And like all these things were checked boxes. And it just, it felt so good. And then meeting her mom was just the best thing ever, because as a mama's boy, like obviously I just craved the validation and the love from her mom. And I think that plays a part even with how the song was written. I just took so much care to it because in so many ways I feel like she is my mom. And
we need to get into that, how that came about.
It's the closest person I've ever passed.
I love it. It's
Sorry,
like
I was jumping the gun.
No, and I love that. No, this is a conversation. So wherever it takes us, we go. So Jenny, let's go into that. You have had this connection with your mom that you've had to translate into now signs, just messages, memories, because it's been 6 years. No, how many? 2018. 8. Now I have to calculate.
8 years.
March.
Yeah, 8 years.
8 years. So March 17th, which will be the official debut of the book. That is your mom's anniversary. So it's been 8 years. So in these 8 years that you've developed this different way of connecting and communicating with her, take us into the creation of this book? Because you had to create also ways in which the kids would remember and connect with their grandmother, since some of them were just babies. You know, the youngest was just a baby
Yeah,
when, right?
my
And you
second
were
was 6
pregnant.
months old. Yeah, when she
Yeah,
passed.
sorry.
Yeah.
The middle one, there's no middle one. There's four. There's the second one
2 middle ones.
was just a baby when your mom died. Then you had your third one and fourth one after. So you'd have to find ways of connecting. So take us into that journey, Jenny, as to how it was that you started to find little things and then the inspiration for the book.
Yes, absolutely. I can give you some backstory here for your listeners. I never thought I would be a children's book author, to be honest with you. I was raised as a dancer. My mom was my first dance teacher, so she put me into dance class, and it was, I loved it. You know, I don't know. I say I don't know if I would have chosen dance, but my mom made me choose dance. And I'm glad that she did because I made a career out of it. And
We're also very like naturally gifted at dance. Like yes, you learned how to dance, but I also learned how to dance, and you dance much better than I do. So
well, thank you.
Give your mom credit for dancing, but like I think there's some gifted talent within your dance.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Yes. So I'm grateful that God placed that gift in my heart. And as a kid, I was very fearful of death, and my parents never really spoke about it much, and so I would just like sit in my room with these crazy thoughts. And the unknown was what really scared me. So I was afraid of everything when I was little. And it didn't serve me as I was growing up. It kind of stuck with me. And it wasn't until I moved away from home where I finally kind of found my own truth, my own spirituality. I was a little bit more connected. And I read a book called A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and that really grounded me. And I became super present. I was not fearful. I just embraced life. And the first person that was close to me that passed was my grandma. And I had to decide if I wanted to go back for the celebration of life or funeral. And, growing up, my parents never took us to funerals or celebrations of life. They kind of thought that they were protecting us, not showing us that side of life. And I'm pretty sure, like now raising my kids, that I don't want to do it that way for them because I could see how it brought me a lot of fears around it. And so I chose to go and embrace it. And I think I was the only one of my siblings that went. And I'm so grateful that I did because I could see, I could say goodbye, first of all. I could see her in the open casket and know that this is just a shell. Like we are just a shell. And I knew that her soul was still all around me because when they buried her, there was a beautiful gust of wind that came. And there was no wind before, no wind after. And I just had chills all over my body. And I just knew that was like the first time that I felt like a sign from somebody. And that was really powerful for me and my evolution and growth and getting over this fear that I had. And so, yeah, when my mom was diagnosed with cancer, it was scary and I didn't know what to do. I lived in California, so it was kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But then when I met Travis and we got pregnant, we decided to move back to Florida to be with her. And it was the best decision we had ever made because it really grew us closer. I think my mom and I had a lot of resentment towards each other when I moved to California because of, I knew she didn't really want me to go. I think she would have rather me stay and, be around the family and live close by and all those things. And so it was hard for me. And I kind of resented her for that. And so when I moved home, it was the most beautiful thing I could have ever done. And our relationship just grew so close. So I'm really grateful for that time because our first child, Kinsley, was able to go to every doctor's appointment with us, all of her chemo and radiation and all the things that she had to do. So it brought her so much joy. I could see it in my mom's eyes. And I'm, like I said, very grateful for that time with her.
Mm-hmm. She loved being like a grandmother as well. It's like Jenny's sister had 2 children before we had kids. And so like she really took that role of, Gigi was the kid's nickname for her. So she was, anytime that she was around the kids, you just saw like life, just like envelop her. So even when we're at these doctor's appointments and things that that we're in cold rooms and it's sterile and it feels lifeless. Having this, Kensley that was just always there, it was such a beautiful thing to see in her eyes, just like life. And also like, I want more of this. So like, I'll do what it takes.
Yeah,
she fought so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that was because of her love for her family, for her love for her husband. And so that was a beautiful thing that we very, very easily could have been like, let's keep Kensley away from this because it's doctors and death and this. And we
she was
just
losing
decided
weight and lost her hair and all these things. So,
and just making that conscious choice of like, this is something that, not necessarily cancer, but death comes for us all, and understanding the teaching of, this is your body is the thing that gets sick, and your body is the thing that dies, and your body is the thing that does not go on. But you have something more beautiful, and that's your spirit and your soul, and that's something that is eternal. So it was a teaching lesson, but also it was valuable because we got to, see your mom go through these like horrible treatments and still have like this positive outlook on her face, whether it was her just putting on the show or whatever. You could see that it was better having us there and having Kensley there.
Of course, yeah.
And even Kaya too.
But, as she was dying, there were some beautiful moments and signs that were sent to us. And they were a big inspiration in the book, Are You Here? And I'll just give one briefly is the deer. There was 3 deer that came and laid right in front of her window in her room. She chose not to go to the hospital. She didn't want to die anywhere else but our family home. So
this was also the hospice point and the treatment. So she had chosen that she wanted to be in the comfort of her home, surrounded with family. And
we knew there was only a couple days. Yeah. So yeah, these 3 deer just came and showed up and laid outside her window for the last 3 days until she took her last breath. And then they were gone. And we've never seen deer laying in that same spot ever again. And she had a smile on her face as she took her last breath. And I just remember calling Travis because he wasn't able to be there. And I was just crying. And I don't know for you too, Kendra, because I know you lost your mom too, but telling the story and reliving it just kind of brings up some of that emotion that was there. And I haven't cried on a podcast actually yet, but this is the first time. And so I knew that she was no longer tied to her body that was, not serving her, and that her soul was all around us, and I could feel it. And I was looking up and I was thanking God. I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Mm-hmm. And so,
and like Jenny had mentioned, years before she had lost her grandmother, she had lost her aunt, and then her mom's best friend, which was kind of like Aunt Connie. She was, very close to the family as well. And
so we believe those
3 deer that were just laying outside, which in the 40 years that they've lived at this house, they've never seen anything like it. And then as her mom takes her last breath in those last moments, the 3 deer just get up and walk away. And it's as if, like God was like, hey, we're, Sue and the 3 that had gone before, that had passed before, hey, go welcome, my daughter into eternal life. And that, I mean, what a beautiful sign. Is perfect for your mom. Your mom loved wildlife. She loved her house. She loved her home.
Yeah.
Loved her family. And it was just such a peaceful,
transition.
That's
yeah.
so beautiful. And in that overwhelm, as you were saying, that you just put your hand up in the sky and we're just really like more like thank you. It was like this thank you and this right to God to some extent right. That it's wow. It just happened also as your mom wished with you guys there and in her home, and just seeing her already leave the pain behind. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really powerful moment for me and in my grief journey and the healing too, I think. Because I tell a lot of people that my grief, like the anger and the resentment and the sadness, was before she passed. Like, because I knew it was coming, and Travis still had his mom healthy. And, I saw grandparents at the parks with their kids playing and stuff. So that was where my grief really was hard. so then after she passed, like I had a weight lifted off my shoulder, and, I've always been a glass half full type of girl, optimistic, and so I just always believed that you know, like I didn't want to choose to stay in that sadness and that anger and that resentment. I wanted to choose to move through it and feel those emotions, but know that my mom would rather me live in beauty and love and happiness and joy. And so, anyways, a couple years later, I was feeling a little disconnected from her, and I was just praying to God to please connect me. Like, I want to feel you, Mom. And so I went to a retreat by Dr. Joe Dispenza, who links spirituality and science. And I set 2 intentions to connect to my mom and heal my IBS that I had been dealing with for quite some time. And I did both of those. And I connected to my mom like I had never connected before. And that was really what sparked the whole book process and Are You Here? Because there's so many signs and synchronicities from that retreat to leading up to the fruition of Are You Here?
That's so beautiful. Now, do I remember correctly? Because I know we spoke before. Really, was it in the middle of the night?
Yes.
Okay. So take us into that moment in which you just basically feel this conversation.
Absolutely.
It was a conversation, really, right? And an answer. Please
Yes,
share.
absolutely. So after the retreat, I had never felt so connected. And I say this too, that after my mom passed, I had felt the same connection. I saw colors that I'd never seen before. I heard sounds that I'd never seen before. I don't know, like I was so present after.
I say that grief like it heightens like these other senses.
Yeah, that we
right? Yeah.
never tap into. I don't know. It was so amazing. And so after that retreat, I felt the same thing. And so I knew that I was connected. And so I knew I needed to stay in my creative space. And so that night before, I went to a dance class, and I had dedicated the dance class to a friend of mine whose partner had passed. And I was just very connected. And I went to sleep that night. And that night was when I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was in between wakefulness and sleepfulness. And I just kept writing these words because, I had set that intention to feel connected to my mom. And I feel like after I had said that, like she sent me this message early one morning to tell me that she was with me all around me and everything and everywhere. And I just wrote this, kept writing, and then finally fell back to sleep. And in the morning I woke up, and that's when I showed Travis it, and he turned the words into the most beautiful song that healed me in so many ways that I didn't necessarily know that I needed. And yeah, we have this beautiful song that we first called Dragonflies, because that was the first line of the song. And I'll let Travis say a little bit more about that process.
Well, I was just gonna add that after I think where you were coming from after the event with Joe Dispenza, you came home and you kind of had this like newfound, like you were remembering that, oh my God, I can ask my mom I can be connected. It's a choice. I can choose to ask my mom for these signs. So I think you just had this like newfound realization that you'd had before, stemming back from even when, you went to your grandmother's celebration of life with the wind. Like that was when the wind came, you weren't like, oh, that's cool, that's wind. You're like, oh, like I feel you. I can ask for signs. I can feel the signs. It's like our connection isn't limited just to our earthly presence. So I think coming back from that retreat, you kind of had this, like, you remembered that you could just ask. And
we can all access it. And yeah,
and that it's accessible. So once that door is now open, you have this night where you dedicate this dance to your mom, who, and so many levels, like she's the one who taught you how to dance. It's this full circle.
I dedicated it to my friend's partner that passed, Matt.
Oh,
but
that's
it's
right.
Still,
that's right.
Yes, but it's in a connection of the grief. You knew what it felt like, so you're expressing the grief of what your friend is going through, but with a grief that's very personal to you because you've also experienced it.
Absolutely.
So it comes out in dance. You do that, then you go to sleep. Then this.
Yeah. So this door is open.
So many,
and you are now realizing that, like, okay, I want to ask for these signs. I want, like, Mom, I know you're there. Show me, tell me. Mm-hmm. And you wake up in the morning and you write this beautiful thing, and then you go to sleep. And in the morning, we all wake up, the kids, and I remember you showing me, and it's like it's a masterpiece. It's like so beautiful. This very divinely guided, what looked like a poem, right? And even in the way that she repeated some of the things, it was just a beautiful poem that was, it was awesome. Jenny's never written a song in her life.
I'm a songwriter now.
You've never really written poetry. Like, this was just like not something that you normally would do. And so that in and of itself is a beautiful sign. So I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, I could take this and make it a song. I love doing that anyways, as far as songwriting. So I took it upstairs and started writing, and it was so easy to put together because it was so beautifully crafted. And I remember even in the making of it, I was like, I had a grateful heart for this connection that Jenny had made with her mom again, and put together the song in a couple hours and brought it down and showed her. And that was just like waterworks for like the next 2 or 3 days. And then we had this poem, we had this song. We didn't really know, what to do. It was enough. It was enough that we just had it. And, that we had the connection with her mom, that Jenny wrote this poem that she could read and feel that connection. She could remember that connection that she had with her mom in the middle of the night. We had this song that we could listen to and feel her mom. And it wasn't the song that's so sad you just can't listen. It's a song you want to listen to again and again because it's hopeful, and it reminds you of the beautiful qualities of your mom. And then we just kind of had this thing, like, it feels selfish to keep for ourselves. And we are not the only ones experiencing grief. We are not the only ones who love music. We are not the only ones who are sitting there like wondering, like, what do we do now? So we decided to do a couple of things. One, we decided, and with Jenny's blessing, I was like, can I put the song out? And even the album artwork was a picture. It was a newspaper clip of her mom from her softball. Like this, it was the cutest picture ever. And
she looked like an actress.
Beautiful.
Right? That picture looks like as if she's an act. I know you're an actress. Your mom was a dancer. She was not an actress.
She was in pageants, and she was very smart, very intelligent, won so many awards. But yeah,
she's so beautiful. Like it
has a smirk in it. It had that figure's like little smirk, and just like,
she had confidence like crazy. Cute. And I think that's what it takes to be those.
What's that softball movie? That softball movie with all the
League of Their Own.
League of Their Own. With the women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She could have played a part in that
easily.
Hi, I just had to come on and just kind of interrupt right now this episode that you're hearing. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you guys are listening to this conversation. And every single time I hear a guest, there's something new that I learn, and something else that ends up showing up within me that I realize I still have to work on. And if by chance, as you're listening to this conversation, you're feeling the same, that there's parts of you that are being stirred up, and you are navigating a life transition right now that feels just heavy and stressful and just layered with grief, I want you to know that you do not have to do it alone. I invite you to connect with me for a free 15-minute discovery call, and we'll explore what's coming up for you and see if working together feels like the right fit. Just check the show notes below for my email and reach out for details. I'd really love to support you in integrating these transitions with more ease and clarity. Can't wait to hear back from you. Okay, let's keep on listening to the episode.
So anyways, we had this kind of realization, like, hey, this is kind of selfish if we keep this to ourselves, even though that was enough for us. That was enough that we had this thing. And when we wanted to release a song, I kind of asked Jenny and asked kind of her family, is this okay? And of course everybody said yes. We released a song, and then, Jenny took it to a deeper, because the We the Kings fan base is kids from 6, 7, 8, 9 years old to 70, and there was a demographic that was like, that Jenny was remembering. Like, I remember sitting in my room and being scared to death. Like, is there something that I could do that could maybe help the world and be of service to the world? And that's where the idea of the children's book came from. So that idea starts, and it already starts with like little scribbles. She already has this beautiful poem that translated to a book so easily. It's just like a copy paste, like, okay, the writing's done. here's all the signs that I've asked my mom to come. Here's the things that I've seen in my life that maybe people could relate to, and maybe people could identify like, oh, those are the signs that you see. I can ask for signs. Or maybe, hey, this thing that keeps happening, maybe that's the thing. Maybe my door has always been open. And she ends up wanting to do a children's book because she felt for those kids who are sitting in the room scared of the unknown and scared of what happened. And I think that's where I'll let you talk about it because it is obviously I'm biased because, I'm Jenny's number one fan and I love the book. I genuinely do. I think objectively it is so gorgeous and it will be so helpful. But it is so exciting because on my side from We the Kings, I've had fans come up and be like, your song saved my life. Your song got me through a really challenging time that I didn't know I was going to get out of. And I have had that conversation with fans countless times, like hundreds, if not thousands of times. This book will do that exact same thing. And I cannot wait for people to come up to her and say, thank you for writing this. Like, and even though it's like, she doesn't even feel like she wrote it. She just feels like, this was a gift from her mom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so people coming up to her, I know this is going to happen. Thank you for just getting me through a hard time and challenging time. And you genuinely made my life better. And that is like, you feel like at that point, it's like your responsibility now. Like, oh my God, I'm like, this gift from my mom is able to like expand outside of my household and is able to genuinely make somebody else's life better. It's so special.
I love it. Jenny, the process of creating this, because you had that then in this paper, then the song comes out, and then you're like, okay, let's do this into a book. So deciding to go into that part, and then really the choosing also of the artist, then to the illustrator, that is a whole other process. So share how that came about, that finding of the perfect person to put these words into this beautiful illustration together.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. It's like lyrics and harmony, right? It's like having the lyrics of a song and having the melody. Like you can have the amazing lyrics, but then the melody is also there. So that's what this book has, the beautiful writing, and then the beautiful
they need to complement each other, because if they don't complement each other, then the message could get lost, or the meaning could get lost, or the will to want to help could get lost.
Yes. So then in this, tell us the process.
Yes. Yeah. So again, so many synchronicities, and it was divinely guided. Even just meeting my publisher, who was introduced to me through the friend that I danced for their partner that one night. She introduced me to the publisher. And then I had to find an illustrator, and I knew in my heart who I wanted it to be, but I knew that she had some challenges that were going on in her life at that moment. So I didn't want to, fill her plate up and ask, but I ended up asking her, and she was like, no, I would love to do it. And she committed. We had met on a commercial set in Miami, like in 2020, I think it was too. And had been friends ever since. She's the most talented woman I have ever met. She's from Canada. She's an actress. She's an artist. She does all the things. Her daughter is so amazing too, and is just following her footsteps. She's a little actress now. And I just knew that she would bring this book to life. But
more importantly, she was in a similar season as you, where she
had passed. She's a mom, she's a mom too. But her dad had passed away 6 months prior to me asking her. So it was a really powerful. I believe if she was on this call too, that she would say it was really powerful in her healing as well, because her dad came through in dreams while she was doing the illustrations, and from the beginning, I always knew what I wanted. Like seeing this book wasn't exciting for me, because it's like I already knew that it existed in my mind. I don't know. It's very crazy to say, but like even to the illustrations, I knew in the second half I wanted it this way, and then the first half I wanted it this way, and I tried to draw it out as best as I could to show Elizabetta, and she really, obviously amplified my drawings and made this beautiful piece of art, which is what I wanted from the beginning too, a piece of artwork that, you know, you could have on your shelf and look at. And
also something that was like, yes, artistic, but also something that translated to lightness and to beauty and to celebration. Because when you're talking about something like this, it is very easy to be dark and sad and just filled with grief instead, and live in that sadness and live in that grief while you're reading this thing to the point where you don't want to finish it because you're just like, it's too much. But there's this very delicate balance where you're like, even the colors that were chosen are just, they feel organic and natural and authentic. And the girl in her face, she looks hopeful, and that's like not easy to capture because the lyrics and the writings, they are those things. So like having that balance of like, hey, here's the message, here's the thing, they need to complement each other, was like such a, like, she kept sending stuff and Jenny and I were just like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like it just, and illustration after illustration, it was just like, how are these getting better and better? This is insane.
Yeah, she's so talented. I visualize her doing art galleries and we, you know, blowing up these photos and, you know, her telling her story because she is very talented and was a big part of this whole process.
I love it. So yeah, the Elisabetta Fantone. So should we say it like Italian?
Elisabetta Fantone. She is Italian.
Elisabetta Fantone.
What's nice is that the illustrations are like, when you can read this book, you can read it and you can just focus on the words, and then you can read through it and just look at the illustrations, and then you can get a mixture of both. And I think you could honestly read it 20 times and, you know, get something different from each time that you read it. And with kids, and Jenny and I have talked about this a lot, but with kids, as you're reading, maybe they're looking for the ladybug, or maybe they're looking at the illustration, or maybe they see a word that they recognize, and they might not be following along the lyrics exactly the way maybe an adult would, but it's giving their subconscious these tools of how to handle grief when it inevitably comes. And those are maybe tools that Jenny or even myself, that we didn't have growing up, which led to a fear of the unknown and led to being scared of death and what that meant. So I love that this is kind of like, it's a book, but it's also kind of like a toolkit for like these kids, these people that we love more than anything in this world, to be able to handle things after we're gone.
You know, I want to say that because I did have copies early on, because I ordered beforehand too, and you also sent me one. I ended up giving one of my copies to my friend whose mother died, even though she's an adult and she has adult kids. I gave her that, and I gave her my book Signs, which I had read because also my sister passed it along after you had recommended. And then another book that it was a mothers without daughters without mothers type of book. But I gave her those three, but I said, right now with grief brain, honestly, in those moments, you sometimes do not have the to sit down and read a whole book. You can't sometimes even focus. So this is not a book only for children. It really is also for somebody that's fresh in their grief as well. Like, it's just a way of being able to feel that hope, like you mentioned, Travis, stay focused and present, and kind of, it's kind of that little tap on the shoulder to be looking around, and
a reminder.
A reminder for us to just be looking around. So I want to say that, as if you're listening to this and you don't have kids, you still can get this book and have it on your shelf, because again, it's like a perfect thing to pick up in those moments in which you really do want to feel connected to.
Connected. Yeah. I mean, that's the beautiful thing, because Jenny, again, she did this book for her own healing, so like and she's a 40-year-old woman, like when that just happens to for her, as a mother of 4 young children, wants to give them something that they can understand grief and understand all these things. So it just happens to be one of these things that's going to be very helpful for children. But like when we read it as adults, it's like, it is a work of art. It's the illustrations are so beautiful. The words are so meaningful and simple. And like you said, like when you are in that grief brain, you're not really ready sometimes to pick up a novel. Sometimes you just need to like open a page and see some beauty and lightness and connectiveness. And that is so valuable to, at any age, you know, to just settle your brain down.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the guests I had, Randy was her name. She calls herself a little griever. She's a grown adult, but because the grief she experienced, the loss of her father, was when she was 10 years old, she still calls herself a little griever, because a lot of times, if you were a child and your grief was not acknowledged at that time, now as an adult, you can even read, I'm getting chills in this moment thinking as an adult that your grief if you grieved as a kid and it was never really even talked about in your home, for so many people, that's kind of put on the back burner. Yeah. This is like a great book as well to tap into that part of you that was neglected as a child, and you know, as well. So reading it and connecting to your inner child and really giving that love, and you're healing really this relationship that you have with death from 20, 40, 50 years ago.
That's so well said.
That is so well said.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just for everybody.
It's
for everyone, Jenny. I'm like, look, I'm not joking when I tell you I'm getting goosies as I'm saying.
I have goosies too.
Yes, because it is. It's like, imagine how many people that their grief was never really addressed
or seen. I know, or heard when they were going through it. I know.
So and it's never too late to, like you mentioned, it's never too late to dive back in and to heal that inner child. Which I think is what a lot of adults do anyways. You know, you're trying to identify where trauma is coming from that's making you feel a certain way. So you are doing this to heal that thing, not really to heal your present moment. You're healing this past thing so that your present can be okay.
Exactly.
So just the fact that Jenny's able to do that with this book is such a beautiful service to the world.
It's beautiful. Now, I want to hear how the kids reacted, how your kids reacted when they first saw the book. So when it was printed, the story, the song they had, I know the song because I've been listening to the song it's been a year, I think, since it released, right? March of 2025.
Yep.
So I've been singing and humming that. And so I know that. And I send it to people, you know, I'm like, listen, if you want a good cry sometimes, but in that soulful kind of way, listen to this. And now it's the same thing with the book. So tell me, for the kids, how was it for them holding the book?
Well, they were such a big process in it. Like when Elizabetta would send me illustrations, or I would get a copy back from the printer, I would always ask them, like
what do you like this?
Yeah, like, what do you think coming from a child, like in your eyes?
Even like the dragonfly at one point.
Oh yeah, they gave me notes on the illustrations, and so
I remember they said like one of the legs or one of the eyes or the legs were furry, like they actually are in real life.
Yeah, very.
And they're like, that's a little scary. And so we changed it and then made the eyes like a little more
friendly
or whatever. And Elizabetta was able to take all these notes and be like, got it. And then adjust it and be like, oh my God, they love it now. You know, like, so they were such a huge part in the making of the book that it wasn't really a big surprise when they got the final product.
But I'd have to say Kaya, my second, is
she really
the proudest of me. Yeah. She's so sweet. I mean, I think they're all very proud, but we did that an event called Sparkle of Hope in August or September, actually. And she was there with me while I spoke and signed copies for this gala luncheon. And she was just right beside me, handing out bookmarks to everybody.
She saw this line of people, all ages, waiting in line to get a book signed by Jenny and Kaya. Just the way that she looked at Jenny was so inspiring. And I love that. Like, you know,
because they've seen that in you. They've seen dad on stage all the time. And this is new for them to all of a sudden see the spotlight on mom too, right? To see that
exactly. And the thing is for them, and I've thought about this a lot. I've given this so much thought because I think we don't know that we're giving them this tool and this service to them, but like, I wanted to be a rock star. You know, I wanted to sing on stages to thousands of people. Like that was my dream. I get to live my dream. Jenny has been in movies and TV, and she's got her yoga practice and nutrition license. She's got all these things. Anytime that she had a dream, she went and did it. She started a business with her sisters that was healing in a way. And now, later on in life where other people could be like, well, I'm just a mom. It's taking up everything, which is the biggest job you could do. She's still found a way to realize her dreams. So these kids are growing up in a household where both parents have said, this is my dream. To some or most, it might sound crazy, but I'm going to do it. And then they they get to see the actualization. So there is nothing in this world that they're going to be able to say like, oh, I can't do that, because we are doing it. And it's such a cool thing for them to see their parents do. And I love when they're on the side of the stage watching me. I love when they're at an event with Jenny, because they're seeing it from both sides and it's not just one. And then at the same time, we're also trying our best to be the best father and mother that we can. So it's not just about her authorship or not just about my musicianship.
It's about following your dream and knowing that that you have the power within you to chase that dream if you want to.
And to also leave space to be great parents, which is genuinely, and we both would say the same, that is our number one priority. It's our number one passion, our number one love, and number one job is to do that. This just happens to be something that they support us the whole way through. So we are allowed to do it because they make it so easy for us to want to follow our dreams, because we get to show them, hey, whatever it is in life that you want to do, you can do. And there's nothing too great, nothing too big.
That's awesome.
But my little sister, my youngest, she knew in her heart that she wanted to be a mom, and that's what she wanted to do, that she wanted to marry a husband that could make enough money that she could stay home and be a mom. And I think that is so beautiful too, because she felt that's a dream, right?
It is a dream. Yeah,
that is a dream. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I hope this is an inspiration for them to know that whatever dream God placed in their heart, that they can follow and achieve that.
Yeah. And to answer your original question, like, they are so proud. They see the book, they hold in. And I think the bigger thing is that they just see that it's happening, and it's not something that's like only right now. Like, we're getting ready to, in a week or so, we're getting ready to take off on a little book tour where we're going to go have these events, and there's going to be more lines of people wanting to have their mommy's signature on this beautiful piece of art that they saw created over time. So it's such a cool thing. It's not just this one time, oh, you made a book, I'm very proud of you, and then it's on to the next day. Like, this is this ever evolving slow burn, like, where it's going to grow and grow and grow into this beautiful thing, and where they're able to come along with us for the entire thing.
I love it. I wanted to talk about, you mentioned Spark of Hope,
Sparkle
of Hope. So you guys are now based in Tennessee. That was a big change, and we could have a whole other podcast about that part too,
100%.
because it just, even moving, all these things are huge grief in that, especially leaving your families behind back in Florida when you were just, it's a big change there. But you've also then now linked arms with organizations as well that help people in their grief journey. Can you share about that as well?
I mean, that's a big goal for me, is to connect with grief organizations and, again, have this be a tool for them to use with their families that are going through something similar, to, again, inspire and uplift them in a way that maybe they're not feeling in that moment. But yeah, our goal would be to create these events where, we go and I could do a read aloud. Travis could sing the song. We could do a craft with the kids afterwards and have an open discussion about it, because that's where it starts, is the conversation, right? And death is so taboo, and no one wanted to talk about it, when we were growing up. And I'm hoping for that to change. And I think the way to do that is just to open the conversation and have these events where people know that they're not alone, and they're seen and they're heard, and it's okay to feel whatever emotion you're feeling. But my goal would be for people not to stay in that emotion, if it is one of sadness and anger, but to feel it and get through it so that they can experience the life that, universe and God wanted them to have, and their loved ones.
It's funny because Jenny's like the least typical author maybe ever. Like, she's had these conversations of like, I don't care about like if people buy the book or not. I just want people who are in that season to have to get it one way or the other, like whether it's gifted to them or they find it. But I really want to just bring stacks into grieving centers and stacks into hospitals and stacks into schools and stacks into libraries so that kids have the ability to just grab it when they can. And every time that we talk to somebody within PR, she's like, I'm really not worried about that. I want to kind of give it to everybody. and they're like, well, okay, well, let's do this. And it's so cool to see her keep her integrity through the whole thing, and keep that mission kind of soul focused and morale focused, where the dream was to have this book to heal her. And then the dream expanded into have this book to help heal other people that are feeling the same way. And that has not been lost. And it's very cool because so easily, and I've seen it in my industry, you have this thing you're able to hold now, and then the ego kind of gets in the way, and then you're battling your ego of like, oh, I'm awesome, I'm this, I'm that. And so I just love that where we're at, the book is almost out, and her mission is still the same of like, let me try to help heal people who are hurting right now.
Mm-hmm. So the book, let's talk about that, of when people can have it in their hands. As we're recording this, it has not been released yet. As I release the episode, it probably would have already been released. So March 17th is the official launch. So where will people be able to find it on March 17th?
Yes. Well, right now you can pre-order it on my website, www.jennyrobinsonclark.com, on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, on Books A Million, anywhere you find your books. And then, yes, on March 17th will be the release date. So then it will be shipped out so that you can have it in your hand. And I really want to support the indie bookstores too. So if you have a bookstore in your area that you love, please let them know about the book, and hopefully we can get some copies in these beautiful indie bookstores that are all around the country.
Yeah, I would also like to encourage like the people listening right now, like if there's maybe an organization like we mentioned, where you feel like a lot of these books could be helpful in the healing process and the grieving journey, to find Jenny on anywhere on social media or on our website or email or whatever it is, and reach out. And I just encourage everybody to, if there is an area where you think that this could do a lot of good, to just try to let us know. And Jenny's website is very good, but it also has all her social, and she tries to be good about being a mom and occasionally checking her emails and social media stuff. So yeah, I feel so grateful and so excited for the journey. And as her number one fan, I'm so grateful for anybody that does, go to the website and gets the book and maybe orders one for a friend who is going through a tough time. Because I really genuinely think that it will be of value and of service and so helpful.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I agree 100%, 100% with that. Before we wrap up, well, also your song, they can listen on anywhere with We the Kings, anywhere you can hear music.
It's the same book title, Are You Here?
Are You Here? And you can hear it, and you can listen to it alongside as you're reading if you want to. So that way it's double whammy there. And bring the tissue box. So before we wrap up, is there anything I have not asked either of you that, or both can reply if you have something else you want to leave with the audience?
My thing would just be that if you do get a book in your hand and you do read it, that you are not stuck in your sadness, that you will be left with hope, love, light, and this connection that you can feel deeply with your loved one.
I can't top that. That's really good.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thank you so much again, Jenny Robinson Clark and Travis Clark, for being on the show. And again, the book, Are You Here? And the song, Are You Here? You can find them anywhere. I'll make sure to link in the show notes where you can connect to buy the book. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you again so much for choosing to listen today. I hope that you can take away a few nuggets from today's episode that can bring you comfort in your times of grief? If so, it would mean so much to me if you would rate and comment on this episode. And if you feel inspired in some way to share it with someone who may need to hear this, please do so. Also, if you or someone you know has a story of grief and gratitude that should be shared so that others can be inspired as well, please reach out to me. And thanks once again for tuning in to Grief, Gratitude, and the Gray in Between podcast. Have a beautiful day.